When we have this number of identities, we have to consider the idea of identity threat. Identity threat is really based in fear, and that's why threat is such a good name for it. The idea of identity threat is that something that is in you as a person may be judged by others. And because of this, it may mean that they treat you poorly or that you're discriminated against. And the idea of the identity threat being a threat is that it hasn't necessarily happened yet in this instance, but it does shape the way we interact, even how we view someone. If we look at a person and say, oh my gosh, they're going to see that it took me a long time to get my college degree, and they're going to think I'm not capable of doing this job. And now when you interact with that person, even though they may have never thought those things, now suddenly you're feeling inadequate around them for a while and you act slightly differently. And this is due to identity threat. We've all had cases in our lives where we've experienced some degree of identity threat. And this is why sometimes we're hesitant to share our identities with each other right off the bat. Now we can think a little bit about our identities and how they might interact with others. You think about the number of identities that you possess, and each other person possesses some similar number. And all of these identities help shape the way you see other people and interact. If you think about these things, you can imagine that there may be something hidden below the waterline in someone else's identity trait iceberg that would impact how they interact with you. For example, many people who have addiction in their past have a hard time in social settings, and so may act different when it comes to being around a dinner party or even sometimes at an event at work. It's none of our business really why, but I think it's interesting to consider the opportunities to be curious about how people act and why they act differently in different situations. What experiences have you had that shape the way you interact? Are you perhaps afraid of heights because of an experience that you had, or you hesitate to get into a boat because you were on a sailboat once it tipped over, something like that?